Hello, my name's Julie Williams. I'm a registered migration agent with Migration Downunder, and I'm just wanting to, educate everybody on not on social media, because you're all familiar with social media, but people who are out there promoting Australian visas and opportunities to gain an Australian visa. A lot of them are out there trying to, for their own benefit, to capture your business, to be able to, for their own self-interest. So just be careful when there are people out there promoting it's easy to come into Australia on a student visa currently, or it's easy to get a temporary visa. All you need to do is sign up here. Just be mindful that our Australian borders to international temporary residents still remain closed because of the pandemic. There are a lot of unregistered migration agents offshore that are taking advantage of the more vulnerable out there, using the social media channels to try and make a quick buck or to try and make money off yourselves. So just be mindful as to where you get your advice. And whilst something looks way too good to be true, it often sadly is. So whilst our international borders remain closed, the student visa applications for offshore student applications are not actually being considered. There are certain students that did recently arrive as part of the first trial of international students, but mainly they were those that are already holders of student visas or were doing their PhD and coming into Australia to complete their studies that they had already commenced in Australia. So if you've never studied before, or you haven't got a temporary visa before, just be mindful that it's not actually going to happen for you whilst you're overseas and whilst the pandemic is still currently occurring, and there's no, end in sight at the moment. Well, there is an end in sight. That sounds a little bit too negative, but our borders are going to remain closed for at least, July. It might be even longer. I believe there's going to be certain travel bubbles that do appear with countries that are able to control the pandemic and haven't got the outbreak that some do. So look, it will be changing, but just be aware that if something seems too good to be true, that yeah, I want to get a visa, I want to come to Australia, it's not actually occurring at the moment, because there's also a restriction in the number of international arrivals, and the Australian government at the moment are keen to get Australian citizens and permanent residents home. So there's still a lot of citizens and permanent residents struggling to get a flight to return back to Australia. So whilst that's occurring and whilst our borders remain closed, a temporary resident visa, unless you're in a critical area of need that's going to assist with our economic recovery and also the recovery from a health perspective, then unfortunately you're not going to gain that student visa or that temporary work visa just at the moment. But look, if you just keep up to date with, we try to continue to update you as the pandemic around the world sort of keeps moving and changing, and hopefully in a more favourable mind, but we will continue to update you with anything that occurs with regards to Australian immigration. If you're not registered, do register with our social media channels, as that's how you're best to keep up to date.